today we welcome the Berlin-based artist Teresa Weißert. She was participant of the Extreme Women Art Prize Berlin 2022. We are now today in the exhibition Art in Public Spaces of the Volkssolidarität Berlin Nachbarschaftszentrum Brunndreef. And currently we see in the background here the exhibition, the current exhibition by Miriam Schmidt. This is the installation on the mirror. And to this side, the prints by Jel Sternberg, who is also currently on show. Welcome, I'm very happy. So, what was your recent exhibition and where?
Well, this summer I had together with two friend artists two exhibitions, one in Charlottenburg. It was called Drain Away, and we focused on processes of draining away in very different subjects and media, I guess. And it was in Charlottenburg in the Raum für Sichtbarkeit, an off-space art room. And the other exhibition was at Studio Hannibal in Prenzlauer Berg. And it was a group exhibition called Unravel at Night, but me and my two colleagues rewrote the concept for the exhibition.
What was it?
The concept?
Yes.
Well, it was called Unravel at Night, and it focused on the story of Penelope in the Odyssey. And it was, we took that theme of Penelope sitting at home, weaving on her loom in the daytime and unraveling the woven at night, whilst waiting on Odysseus, who's having all his adventures, and she's doing this weaving, unraveling again and again. And we tried, instead of focusing on her powerlessness and waiting, to see some artistic position in her work, basically, and imagining her as an artist. And we exhibited all works that were in a way connected to that theme.
Speaking of, it's very process-based. What she did, like doing something and then undoing and going into the root of it. Mm-hmm. And what did you really weave something and unweave?
No, actually, that was basically her artwork. But for example, I weave tapestries, and we didn't only show textile works, but all different works. Also, another person did a woven thing that captured really short moments, and we had that paradox maybe of having a very long process in the weaving and capturing the moment. We kind of saw a connection to Penelope also.
Yes, you really have to tell me more about how you work, because you make tapestries. And they are so enigmatic, a bit like blank space, but also sometimes they don't even look like tapestries. But handwerk and tapestries are generally associated, as you say, mythological also to women work. But not only. So, what are the main themes, and how do you work? And if you confront these stereotypes of women do this and that?
Yeah, I think when you do weaving as art, the thing I love about this is that you don't only connect to art history and famous painters and sculptors who are still mostly red male, especially when you look at art history, but you also connect to all the people who wove and did textiles in the past. So it's a much less male theme background you build up on when you do textiles and art, and it's also less Eurocentric maybe. But so I see a lot of themes that can be connected and that are connected also in textiles. When I do tapestries, I guess it all goes in there, but my main theme at the moment still is also the time question, actually, and what woven things are worth. So I usually weave pictures I find in the streets. So in the former city I lived in Halle, it all had very like rough street surfaces and a lot of gaps and wrinkles, and yeah, so I rode my bicycle through the streets and always saw these very interesting moments and these like compositions in the street, and I thought about the similarity between this floor and my artwork, where I do tapestries that are, people always ask me, do you put them on the floor or on the wall? And it's like, are they for use or are they art when they get onto the wall? And I wondered about all these questions and decided to like take the pictures I find on the floor and yeah, translate them into a tapestry that then comes onto the wall basically. Yeah.
Yeah, I was also thinking if these are really some sort of cracks or openings or like wounds or just sketches of hand, made by hand or black on white. Yes, it's very abstract sometimes. And you know, the history of tapestry, this all more into ornaments and decorative and more color, and I have been thinking this is quite reduced for that. Who has been your artistic inspiration, or what maybe?
Yeah, good question. I mean, of course, when you do textiles, you always also think about like the Bauhaus women, for example, also like color-wise. But I love Hannah Rüggen, for example, who's doing very different tapestries, or who did very different, because they are figurative. But yeah, I still also, for me, see a connection in her work, because her work is so political and it's inspired me a lot, and I in a way try to bring that more into tapestry weaving, because I think you have all that history that comes with the weaving, and I think you can really put that also into the work.
Of course, tapestry has one of the longest histories in arts, and that's so that mostly women did it, and with hand. Do you do it by hand or do you have machines?
No, it's like the most manual weaving that you can do, actually, what I do, and it also takes a long time.
So it takes really, really much time.
Yeah.
It is like a schedule of your life, and you know what happened throughout the work on that object. That's interesting. Since you mentioned, do you think art should be political? How would you define this?
I think it's personal choice in a way. I mean, and yeah, I really think it's good that there is art that is not political, and there shouldn't be a force for art to be political. But also, I do come from the climate activism scene, and I think in times like this, it's good that there is political art also, and that there has never been like autonomous art in the sense that no one is, how shall I put it, that art never was not political in the way that it didn't function within a political system.
Exactly. That has always been this political seed into art, always, and the fact itself of doing art is also a political decision. But what is really interesting, that at some certain periods of time, political messages overwhelm the artistic side, and then maybe it becomes more or less problematic for art to survive. I mean, it's very interesting when an artist takes an overt political position. That's very welcome indeed. But at the moment when it overshadows art, then it is more of it's a difficult question indeed.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is always, or I feel like art should never be, not from an external factor, like for example in the GDR when it was told you have to do this and that art, and you're not allowed to do anything else. Of course, that's not what I wish for, but that
or the censorship.
Exactly.
This is incredibly tragic for art when it's censored.
Yes, definitely. But I think that artists become aware that they are like a political subject also, and they are public people in a way. I think that's also.
I'm very much into artists who are activists, and it's very important. These are very courageous people indeed, like Marina Naprushkina, for example, and a whole lot of artists who use protest strategies in their artistic practice. Or the 7th Berlin Biennale, it was all about activism, curated by Artur Zmijewski. Which really brings us to this question: what is for you the role of art?
I wonder that too. I guess there are many answers to it. I think yes, it can have a role in like social transformation processes. It can try out different forms of being together. It can approach themes in a different way than other things can. But I mean, to be honest, I also really often don't know what my art is doing in there. So I don't know if what I expect from art in other cases my art also does. So I think it's this question no one can. It's hard to answer also when you think about yourself.
Well, you are probably in the process of search and experiment, and nobody knows what he comes up with. If you know exactly what you come up with, then it's not that interesting, I would guess. But for me, if you ask me, the most important is this emotional impact that art can make, because art is emotional. If someone can approach a person through art, then through emotion, I would think that's the most important aspect. And then the critical aspect, this ability of art to criticize something and to point out to the problem. Isn't that so?
Yeah, I understand.
And both in connection would work somehow, hopefully. So you started in Halle and then you moved to Berlin.
Exactly, yes.
Oh, how do you feel yourself in Berlin? Is it something particular about being a Berlin artist?
Good question. I mean, my specific situation is that I'm like living half time in Berlin and half time in North Hesse on the rural, because my partner is living there, and so I'm kind of 1 week there, 1 week at the other place. So I always have that break of Berlin also, but I come from Berlin. I was born here and grew up here, and so it always really feels like a safe space to me. Yeah. And I mean, you have lots of choices in Berlin. You can go everywhere every day to the exhibition openings, and but
such a diversity of artistic scene.
Exactly, and you can never see all the exhibitions you want to see.
Exactly, that's the same thing what I could say, but also amazing museums, fantastic museums, and. What has been your recent exhibition that you liked?
Actually, I really want to go back to the Kunstwerke. I was there like a few weeks ago to Kufusco, I think.
Fantastic exhibition, I liked it so much.
Exactly, and I was there for like 1.5 hours, and it just wasn't enough to watch all the videos.
Exactly, there were videos, and I really have to go there again, because it was during the Berlin Art Week, the opening, and we had a quick look. But that was not enough.
Yeah, exactly.
They're doing a wonderful work.
Mhm.
And how do you feel in the contemporary art world about being a woman artist?
I think right now, because I only just finished art school and I can't talk to myself so much that I feel like marginalized as a woman. I think there still is that. And I see how like people who really are in the art world still are much more men, but for me I still kind of need to make that or I will have to probably make that experiences, and right now I really try to like be solidary towards other female artists and do so, use my time resources, for example, when I get a stipend, that I use the time resources to prepare exhibitions not only for me but also for other female colleagues, basically.
Yes, networking and supporting
Exactly.
women artists would be amazing. That's why we decided to conduct this Extreme Women Art Prize. And the first time we got a scholarship, and from this scholarship we allocated our personal money for the prize money. And for the second time we got support from Berlin collector Olaf Scherm, to whom we're extremely thankful. And he did this to set a sign because he as collector has a lot of connections, and still a lot of men collectors persist and say that women artists are not good enough and that they cannot do equally good art in comparison with men, which is not true. It's so bad and so wrong to say this in our time in 2023, but there are still these people, and to make a sign and to contradict this, he decided to sponsor and donate the money for the prize money of the Extreme, and that's how this happened for the second time. And 2023 is gone, but in 2024 we are planning again to conduct Extreme and to find some new sponsorships. Exactly, supporting women in arts is the most important thing. A lot of movements and steps have been done, but there are a lot of women artists who are still struggling to get into exhibitions and to get equal pay, because it's still so that men are getting more payment for the same work as women, which is very unfair.
Yeah, that's true.
So we have to persist. Thank you so much, and yeah, we hope that we make an exhibition of your work